Hey, it's Don Skaggs again with Empowered Inventing, the place where we try to help you help other people by taking innovations and opportunities and turning them into real things like products and businesses. Now, today I want to talk to you about something just very, very different that's going to sound very off the wall, but I'm going somewhere with this, so be sure and follow me. This is about a word, and I want to just ask you the question. I want you to think of this. What do you think of when you hear the word humbug? And most people, especially around Christmas time, the first thing that comes to your mind, the first thing that you think of is Charles Dickens' old story that they've made a lot of movies out of called A Christmas Carol. And that's the story of Ebenezer Scrooge. And if you've not seen it, I don't know what rock you've been hiding under, especially in the United States. But the story of Ebenezer Scrooge is, in part of the story, he says, "Bah humbug, bah humbug." Anytime somebody talks about Christmas or something, he's saying, "Ah, bah humbug." And we kind of want to tie that to him and just, kind of like being a curmudgeon or something. And because of that, I think we've sort of lost touch with what that word really originally meant. And it's got an interesting definition that most people aren't aware of. So where does humbug really come from? Well, let me key you into another movie. And this kind of gives you a clue as to what this word really means. And it's another very old movie from the 20s and 30s, and which is probably why they were still sort of using that word back then. So it's nearly 100 years ago, and they used it in the movie. And if you watch closely, especially towards the end there, it's from the movie The Wizard of Oz. Now, towards the end of the movie, and if you've not seen The Wizard of Oz, again, what rock have you been hiding under? That's kind of an old classic. I think everybody has seen it. I know they do a lot in the U.S. So in The Wizard of Oz, at the end, Dorothy and the Scarecrow and the Tin Man and the Cowardly Lion, they're all there standing before the Grand Wizard. And there's this big light show and fire and this big face on this big screen, and he's saying, "Oh, how dare you talk to the wizard this way," or something like that. And so it's this big frightening thing. And then the little dog, Dorothy's little dog Toto, goes and pulls this little curtain over the side, and you can hear the wizard saying, "Don't pay attention to that man behind the curtain." In other words, don't look over there. So he's revealed, and what he is just this old guy that's running this equipment to make him look 1,000 times bigger than what he really is. And so they pull him out and they say, "Well, you're nothing but a humbug." And I remember watching that and thinking, okay, why did they call him that? So this is what got me interested in this word. And again, stay with me. I'm going somewhere with this, I promise you. So they say, "You're nothing but a humbug." And it really reveals what the true meaning of humbug really is. And it means to deceive. It means you're pretending to be something you are not. And we certainly don't want to ever do that ourselves. We don't want to portray ourselves as something we're not. And now that's completely different than kind of the fake it till you make it thing for inventors and entrepreneurs. But I'm not talking about our side of it. I'm talking about when you're out there dealing with other people in the marketplace. There are people out there who are not what they seem. They are humbugs. And what I'm talking about is inventor scams. They run rampant, and they're really big, and I see just way too many inventors that will get scammed by companies that are offering services that, just like the Wizard of Oz, are not what they seem. So how do you spot a scam? Well, there's some people that will point to this company or that company, and the bad thing about that, other than a lot of those companies want to try and sue you because they're big and they got a lot of money, but they're still scamming people. And the USPTO, by the way, has some of them listed on their site. These are known scam companies. Be sure and check that out, uspto.gov. But outside of that, I'm not a big believer in pointing at certain companies. And the reason why is because a lot of these, especially the smaller ones, they'll get shut down by the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, and then they'll scurry up under a rock somewhere, and they'll pop out somewhere else, maybe in a different state, definitely across the street with a different name maybe, and they'll have a different name, a different identity, and oh look, we're helping inventors over here doing this. And so what I try to help people, and again, this is something that we teach in our classes, and I probably have this on another video, I'm sure, but I try to get you to identify them by their fruits. Know them. It's the old proverb. You'll know them by the fruits. You'll know them by their fruits. If it's an apple tree, you'll know it because it's got apples on it. If it's a pear tree, you know it because it's got pears on it. If it's a scam, they've got certain kinds of fruit on there. And one of the things is they really promote where they'll just do all the work for you, and all you have to do is throw money at them. And there's a reason for that, and the reason for that is they just want you to throw a lot of money at them. And another thing is that they're relentless. They call you, they hound you. You just engage them once. They'll say, oh, send for our free kit or our free whatever. And they'll send you something. Then that engages you. And once they've got you engaged via the internet, via telephone, however, then they won't leave you alone. They will call you, they will email you, they will be relentless. Oh, and they prey on your greed and your fear. If somebody is trying to manipulate you by saying, oh, you'd better hurry now, we have some people lined up here and this is going to go away, but you could make a lot of money with this. If you don't act now and send us another $500, send us another $1,000, send us $5,000 for our next whatever, that is usually a real hallmark of a scam. And I've seen it. I've seen inventors and entrepreneurs come through my door, and they've got these things, these 3-ring binders of marketing studies. So-called marketing studies are basically a book full of Google searches. And they've paid $5,000 for these things, and they are completely worthless. They have no bearing in the real, true marketplace. That's not how you do marketing. That's not how you do. That's not how you learn about your market. And so don't fall for the humbugs out there. They are out there. And they don't look like humbugs. They look like, oh yeah, look at us, we're big, we're great, we're doing all this stuff. So you have to be able to identify these guys by how they act. So watch for the signs. Stay away from, if something looks too good to be true, it usually is. And if somebody is just feeding into your, I think it's great, well, this is just a great idea, and we need to just run with this right now, and you need to send us some more money right now, that's a sign. So watch out for the humbugs. And maybe you learned something. You learned a new word today, humbug. And you learned what it really means. So anyway, I'm Don Skaggs. I hope these videos are helpful. This one was just kind of Christmassy a little bit, I guess, with the whole Scrooge thing, or Wizard of Oz, maybe, from. But I hope you learned something from these. And if this is helpful for you, please pass it on to someone else. Please share it and let people know, because we're trying to help as many people as we can here. If you're watching us on YouTube, be sure and subscribe, help us build our tribe, and I will look to see you at the next meeting, workshop, maybe one of our online classes, or on the next video.